Okay, so on the back side of this plug here, there's a little clip. Maybe you guys can see here, this is the replacement. So there's just like a little clip. It just slides onto this tab. There's this little clip. You just got to go from the back side. You won't be able to see it from over there. It just goes from the back side and you pry up the tab and it'll slide off. Then you can pull it off. So that just comes out. That's that tab there. You can slide this off. I just set it up here. You should secure this. I think it's okay. It's got pretty good space there. And here's the pads. These just kind of slide out like that. Aha. So you can see on here, you see the wear indicator right there? So once it starts getting into there, then the system warns you. But you still have a fair amount of pad, which is kind of crazy. I feel like that needs to be a little lower. Maybe they want people to be alarmed about it sooner, which is fair, you know, because it is a safety mechanism. For comparison, let's see. Let's compare the thicknesses. So yeah, I mean, it's a little more than half, I would say. So yeah, you know, I put another 2,000, I think, maybe miles on it. So to be safe and to get rid of the light, changing it. So I think that was on the inside. Yeah, the brake pad one with the sensor was on the inside. So there's these little clips. The kit does come with replacement clips. So there's like a little notch right here. If you're really anal retentive, you can go through and brush and clean everything if you want. I know that this thing is just going to get super dirty again, so I don't really see the point. But there's a little tab that lines up. If you guys can see here, there's a tab on these little clips. It lines it up super easy. Just locks into place. Very, very easily. Just got to make sure you're putting the right ones on. Go. Could wear gloves to do this to kind of keep your hands clean, but I feel like every time I wear gloves, they just rip anyway, so what's the point? There you go. Then you get your brake grease. I like to get it in there. Anywhere where it's going to be sliding. The brake pads. You don't have to overdo it. This is going to help prevent any squeaking, hopefully. What I like to do is grab one of the used pads. Just stick that in there, how it would normally go. Just kind of tighten it down. Now you're just compressing the pistons so that it slides back over the brake pads once you get the brake pads in there. It would be kind of the same if you were taking off the whole caliper carrier. Same process, except it'd be like a lot bulkier, I guess. Also easy. Some might argue the other way is easier, some might argue this way is easier. It just really depends, kind of like your preference, I guess, what you're used to. So I'm doing it on both sides because this is a 2-pot caliper. It's a pretty decent size for, for a factory caliper. It would be nicer if it was 4-pot. But I guess that's what the aftermarket's for. Put that back in there. So I'm just making sure that both sides are compressed down because there's no perfect center on this because it has a divider piece. But a 4-pot would give you, you know, pistons on both sides, so that it's clamping on both sides. That gives you a lot more force, braking force. Okay. So those are compressed. Like to get a little bit of grease on those pistons. So anything that's like kind of contacting the pad is potentially gonna make it squeal or squeak because it's the vibrations, metal on metal, things like that, that are gonna make the squeaking or squealing sounds. So now, I'll kind of rest that there again. Pretty sure that was on the inside. So then you can just kind of try to line those ears up towards the back and then it should slide in. The other one here. So when you put this caliper back on, you want to make sure you don't squish those little boots. Yeah, that looks right. And that slides back on there. And it's going to clip into those little clips there. Get these little piston bolts or caliper bolts. Just kind of get them started so you're not worried about this falling off. Bottom one's probably not started. Not sure what the torque spec is on these. I'll have to look that up in the manual, but wasn't on there super tight. I'll retorque it afterwards. I just want to show you guys how simple that process is. After that, like, you know, once you torque it down, you put the boots back on right there. Put your wheel back on. Torque your wheel back down. You know, like, this is very easy. This is probably the hardest part here, I guess, is getting this on to the clip. Probably have to do a little bit of finagling here, but it just slides on there. There. And then this just kind of twists into there. It's pretty easy. It just slides on, and there's your clip. I mean, it's not that hard. That's why I don't understand how this can be like $1,000, $1,200 job. I did that in maybe 20 minutes, and that's with me talking and videotaping and stuff. So yeah, it's really easy if you guys are mechanically inclined, want to do it yourselves. It's also a good time to kind of go in and look at the axle, look at the rotor. You know, this rotor does not look warped at all. You can feel on the back side it's smooth, this side is smooth. If you're really anal about it, you could take the rotor off, you can get it turned, and that'll smooth the whole thing down. But typically on a first brake change, you don't really have to do that. If you wanted to, if you were able to source another rotor, it would be a great time to change that out too, because then you could put on a slotted and drilled rotor. But I haven't been able to locate anything like that as of yet available for us. But you know, R1 Concepts may be interested in building something like that, just a you know, OEM plus kind of swap out, like better pads, better rotor. That's probably really all that most guys need. Other than that, they've got the big brake kits out there, you know, Power Brake, Alcon, Buzz. You know, there's a bunch that are just coming out. R1 Concepts took measurements on my car to build a big brake kit. So, you know, all the big players have the ability to make these big brake kits. So if you are not mechanically inclined and you're going to pay $1,000 per axle to have a brake job done, I would say that might be a good time to consider just going to a big brake kit, because I think most big brake kits are around like $4,000, $5,000. You're already like halfway there if you're going to do that. So yeah, very simple, easy job. I'm going to check out to see what the torque spec is on those caliper bolts, and I'll probably drop it down in the description below the video. But yeah, you know, while you're in here, check out your axle, check out your links, make sure you don't have any leaks, no wires are crimped, check your brake lines, make sure they're all good. Look at your springs and your shocks. You know, it's a good time to inspect everything. All the boots on the ball joints, make sure that those aren't leaking. A lot of times on those you'll see grease splatter in different spots. If the boot is torn or something, you could see grease splatter from potentially the drive shaft. If that boot has blown, you would see that everywhere. And then look for leaks of like oil from the diff, from the differential. And just kind of inspect everything overall. It's a good opportunity to check to make sure that your jam nuts on your drag link and your tie rod are torqued, because there has been a lot of recent complaints or voicing of concerns that there's a manufacturing problem, that the steering linkages are failing. It's not a manufacturing problem. That's just like it. Maybe it came loose. Maybe somebody didn't torque it all the way. But you really have to torque those down like incredible Hulk strength, Thunder God strength, something like that, because you have to use a big ass wrench to get enough torque on that. So make sure that those are tight, because those can back off, and then the linkage could drop, and then you'll lose your steering. So that's one of the main things that you should be looking for when you're under the car, and when you're changing the brakes or you got the wheel off. It's a really easy way to check. It's good to mark the jam nut and the tie rod or the drag link with a marking pen, so that you can easily spot if it has worked its way loose, because those lines won't line up anymore. It'll just go like that, and then you'll be able to feel that it's loose. What else? Yeah, I mean, you can clean it if you wanted to. Get some brake cleaner, spray everything off, lube everything up really good. If you're kind of meticulous like that. I know I'm bringing this thing off-road again, like shortly, so it's just gonna get all dirty again. It's not a race car, so I'm not overly concerned about that. Other than that, very easy job, simple, straightforward job. So I think if you guys want to save some money, do it yourself. Put the money that you save towards other modifications or gas, you know, because gas is so expensive on these things. So let me know what you guys think. If I figure out anything about how to source the pads directly from Brembo or even EBC, I'll let you guys know, and then we can save each other tons of money. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys are going to run the factory pads, if you guys have changed them already, any insight that you guys might have, or if you're upgrading to big brakes. Love to hear about it. All right, thanks for watching, guys.